Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play Higurashi When They Cry Chapter 5. In the last episode, while we were out and about in Okinomiya minding our own business and knocking over some delinquents' motorcycles, we were saved by some delinquents whose motorcycles we knocked over by the one and only Keiichi Maebara, who used his rather legendary wit to stall for time until help arrived and, well, he left quite an impression on Shion, shall we say. So much of an impression, in fact, here that she couldn't help but notice a few similarities between this Keiichi and her beloved Satoshi, even though there were some obvious differences between the two. So she took an interest in Keiichi and started to ask Mion about him later on, and well, the more that she learned about him, the more interesting that she found Keiichi. And then later on, we went to the Wachanagashi festival, where Shion decided to just go follow around Keiichi's group and the like during the said festival. Until we eventually ran into Takano and Toмотaki, who were attending the festival themselves. But as we discovered while talking to them, we're waiting for an opportunity to break into a ritual storehouse that stored some implements for the Wachanagashi festival. I'm sure some of you guys know which one I'm talking about. So she decided, you know what? I'm going to bring Keiichi along as a fall guy, essentially, just in case something goes wrong. Although, if someone tells me I might be misremembering that little tiny detail. But if I am, then, well, whatever. Point is, she thought to bring Keiichi along because reasons. And so, we broke into the ritual storehouse. And I can't believe I forgot to mention this. But, right before the festival started, Shion was bothered by the notable similarities that Keiichi has with Satoshi, that she was essentially grieving over Satoshi because of it on her way home. But strangely, she heard the sound of footsteps behind her at one point while she was having this episode. And from there, it looks like something inside her head just snapped, because she now thinks that there's an invisible Satoshi following her around now, who she's been having extended conversations with when she's alone. And apparently, she's aware that only she can sense him, and yet is very reluctant to even bring up his existence to any other people. What I couldn't help but notice was a few similarities between what Shion seems to be perceiving and what I remember with both Satoshi briefly earlier in this chapter and Keiichi during the question arcs, like the sounds of footsteps for one thing. And feeling like as though that there is a presence following her around. But that's kind of where the similarities end. Because whereas Satoshi and Keiichi respond to these imaginary stimuli with fear and paranoia, anger even, Shion, at least initially, well, had the exact opposite reaction and believed it to be her one and only Satoshi. And so welcome the presence. So, yeah, this presence in her head has essentially been following her around ever since, all the way up to the Wachanagashi festival proper. So anyway, getting back to where I was before I went off topic, there they are going into the ritual storehouse, and well, these auditory hallucinations that Shion seems to be experiencing seem to reach a notable crescendo while they were exploring the inside of the storehouse, where there was a series of large thumping noises that kept occurring the whole time that they were there. And apparently, Keiichi nor Takano or even Toмотaki seemed to really indicate that they heard anything. which I found interesting because if memory serves, in Chapter 2, I think Keiichi very briefly heard something as well that sounded similar to a child stomping around in the attic, which is exactly like what Shion described hearing to herself. And yeah, after that, they just went about their own ways after they finished up exploring the storehouse. And, well, we got some tips. And we read some more journal entries from Shion's perspective, and they basically detail about how she heard about Tomitake and Takano's mysterious and brutal deaths, and they instill a sense of fear in her, which I find kind of interesting. Because I lost my train of thought. God damn it. Whatever, I've been rambling on long enough, so I'm gonna hit continue. My relatives gathered at the Sonozaki house after the festival to have a little party. I mingled with my uncles and had fun. I was trying to get rid of my eerie memories of the ritual storehouse. Mion was acting as the successor, so I tried to stay away from her. I'm sure she would feel weird if I talked to her in a formal way. In consideration of the hag's old age, we ended the party around 11 p.m. Whale helped to clean up, with the women washing the dishes in the kitchen, and the men folding the tables and putting them away in the storeroom. It only took about 30 minutes. Then everyone left, one after another. By then, Mion was no longer acting as the Sonozaki's successor, and was back to being her normal self. Maybe I drank too much. I was lying on the tatami floor. Kasai asked me if I could get in the car, so I told him I'd barf if I got in now.
You
sure it's a good idea to spend the night here? Because, I mean, I know that you and... I know for a fact that you and, Uri are not exactly on the best terms right now. I'm kind of concerned that if you spend the night here, you two might, I don't know, have some kind of tense confrontation or something. And you, Shion, will just run your mouth about something and just make the whole thing even worse for yourself. Yeah, see what I mean? She'd get mad. I don't feel like going. I feel like shit. Never mind, I thought that was basically the excuse that what you were going to say. Oh well. Oh, so it's just a cover. Okay, so it more or less actually is that. You just don't feel like going.
まあ、いっか。じゃあ、笠井さん。シオンは今夜はうちで預かります。
わかりました。ではよろしくお願いいたします。
I hope you got a good hiding spot for her then.
ほら、シオン起きて。ここで寝てるとバッチャに怒られるって。ほら、肩を貸すから奥に行こう。私の布団貸してあげるから。
Well, I guess that's as safe a spot as any.
ありりー、おね
My alter ego told me that I'm in a demon's stomach. I wouldn't have woken up if I hadn't heard that voice. I might not have woken up at all. Notebook, page 165. Heard what voice? I didn't remember much after that. I was probably brought to Mion's room and immediately crawled into the futon. After a while, Mion got her futon ready next to me, turned the lights off, and went to sleep. At least, that's what I thought. I got up and turned the lights on. Mion's futon was empty. The futon felt cold. Maybe she's got a bout of insomnia. Mion must have left it a while ago. Did she go to the bathroom? She'd have to be gone a pretty long time for her futon to get cold. No, the closest bathroom was right there down the hallway. The light in the bathroom was off. Where'd she go? The ticking of the clock was loud and annoying in this silence. The hands pointed to a little before 3 a.m. I was left alone all of a sudden in this late night. I felt the eeriness of the ritual storehouse coming back to me, just by drinking it away with alcohol earlier. I tried to sense my surroundings. In this house, there shouldn't be an eerie atmosphere, strange noises, or footsteps. I stepped out into the freezing cold hallway to look for Mion. When I did, I immediately noticed light coming from one of the nearby rooms. That room belonged to the hag. The hag went to sleep early and woke up early. She was very strict about her bedtime, so it was strange to see her light on in the middle of the night. I could hear voices too. Those voices belonged to the hag and Mion. I creeped up to the room and listened to their conversation. Since it was the middle of the night, I could hear their words very clearly.
しゃあもねえやんな。あんの若いのもちょい出張りすぎやったんや。
You're referring to, let me guess, you're referring to the people that broke into the storehouse, yeah?
まあね、お社様のお怒りに触れたんだから、仕方ないしね。
Oh, you're referring to Tomotaki and Takano. So, yeah, basically, I was right. Mion's voice sounded as cold as the one I heard down in the torture room. I held my breath.
警察は調べとっちゅうとろんが、すっとろん間違いなあかんね。
多分ね、高野さんだろうね。
My heart almost stopped. Orishiro-sama got angry. The police are investigating. It's probably Takano-san. What day was it today? Those words told me that something was happening. My teeth started to chatter. I desperately tried to stop them. I felt like my body was swelling up suddenly. I could no longer hear as well. Calm down. Breathe. Listen more carefully. According to Mion and the hag's conversation, another incident definitely took place. The victims were Takano-san and Tomotaki-san. From what I could tell, both Mion and the hag had thought it made sense that whatever it was happened to them. No. I need to think more calmly. They did say they deserved it for making Orishiro-sama angry. Did they say Takano-san and Tomotaki-san made Orishiro-sama angry? How did they make Orishiro-sama angry? I think you can find the answer to this if you just remember what it was you were doing during the festival itself. They knew. My body started to shake. They knew we snuck into the ritual storehouse. That would mean Keiichi and I were also subject to Urashiro-sama's curse. Suddenly, a phone rang. The phone was by the front door. The front door was opposite the hag's room, far down the hall. You might want to get out of there before they notice you're there. The ringing echoed throughout the long hallway. It sounded eerie, almost like it was coming from hell. That was when I felt someone behind me. Of course, there was nobody there when I turned around. But there was someone there a moment ago. I think it's just the imaginary presence, Shion. I didn't know if it was Satoshi-kun. I didn't sense any emotions, so I couldn't tell. I also didn't know how long it had been there. It was as if somebody was watching me listen in on their conversation. That was the feeling I got. It couldn't be Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun would never be that intimidating or scary. My mind turned all red, like it was suffused with blood.
みーちゃんにはない？ひたひたと。ずっと足音がついてきて、夜は枕元にまで立たれて見下ろされる経験。
Yeah. I keep forgetting that you seem to have experienced a lot of the same hallucinations or visions, like Keiichi and Satoshi did. I remembered what Reina Ryugu had said on that rainy day.
そうならばみーちゃんは大丈夫。お社様には怒られない。
If Urashiro-sama wasn't angry, nobody would follow me. So what did this mean? Well, going by Reina's logic, you made Urashiro-sama angry. Ever since we snuck into the shrine storage, something has been following me? What is it? No, that's not true. Whatever it is that has been following you has been following you well before the festival even began, let alone you going into that storehouse. Calm down. Calm down. That's right. Reina wasn't talking about me. She was talking about Satoshi-kun. That's what happened to Satoshi-kun.
サトシ君が体験していることは、すべてお社様のたたりの前触れなの。
That's right. That's why he encountered the curse of Urashiro-sama.
誰かが遠くからじっと伺っている。誰かがずっとつけてくる。
A creepy feeling crawled up and spread across my back.
誰かがいつも自分のすぐ後ろから見ている。やがて足音は常に自分とずれて一つ余計に聞こえるようになるの。
I swallowed loudly. It's almost as though Reina Ryugu was predicting what would happen to me. Had Reina been talking about Satoshi-kun back then? Or had she actually been talking about me? Pretty sure she was talking about Satoshi.
やがて後ろのそれは自分の家の中にまでついてくるようになる。そしてお布団に入って明かりを消してもずっと枕元から見下ろしてるの。
Well, technically, this isn't even your house. This isn't even your house, Shion. So for now, at least, the symptoms aren't quite that bad yet.
ただただ黙って。
Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. It's been following you in your apartment right from the get-go, too. Fuck.
じっと。
I knew by now that there was no mistake. No matter how I looked at it, she had been talking about me. Yes, me. It had been about me. curse of Orishiro-sama? What is the curse of Orishiro-sama? Shion, you weren't even experiencing any of these things by that point when you ran into her. I really don't think she was talking about you. That was when I actually felt something for real. Someone grabbed my collar. No voice came out. I wanted to scream, but all I could do was to open and close my mouth, as if something was stuck in my throat. Hi, Mion! It was Mion. She looked even colder than how she looked in the underground torture room. It only made sense that she'd come out in the hallway to answer the phone. I tried to come up with an excuse. However, the way Mion looked at me was so cold. Even if I had run into her by accident, I could tell by the look in her eyes that she wouldn't believe me. I felt cold sweat all over my body. I couldn't even move my fingers.
ごめん。
I apologized. I could have said something to get myself out of the situation, but the apology came out first. But Mion didn't appear to hear me. She walked to the front door, still holding my collar. The phone was still ringing. A normal person doesn't usually let a phone ring so long at this time of night. The phone call itself didn't seem real to me. Mion picked up the phone.
ミオンです。そうですか。わかりました。そちらの対応はよろしくお願いします。それから、一切の口封じをよろしくお願いします。ええ。では。
Mion put down the phone after a short conversation. What'd she mean? Make sure nobody talks about this. If I had to guess, I'd say it's making sure that word of Tomitaki and Takano's deaths don't get any widespread attention. Who called any? Way. Mion put her forehead to mine and spoke to me.
聞いてた?
Hear what? The conversation on the phone, or the conversation between you and scary old lady Uryu? Which conversation was she talking about? Well, she had to be talking about the one at the hag. If I said yes, what would happen to me?
知ら... 何のことかわかんない。
Mion pulled my collar, pressed her nose on mine, and continued to speak.
聞こえた通りです。富武さんと高野さんがお社様のたたりに遭われました。本当にお気の毒なことです。
It was like I was talking to myself in a mirror. But what I was saying in the mirror was ever so cold.
おねお社様のたたりって何です？富武さんは自らの手で喉をかきむしってお亡くなりになりました。高野さんは遠くの山奥でドラム缶に詰められて焼き殺されたそうで。
Wait a minute. How would you know it was Takano in the oil drum? I mean, didn't take the police in that particular area like a day or two to get DNA test results in order to confirm that the DNA profile matched Takano's body? How exactly do you guys already know this?
実にお気の毒です。
Unless, maybe, you guys have had something to do with it, maybe? By itself, it's flimsy evidence, but you're definitely getting my my noggin joggin', shall we say. Tomotaki-san clawed at his own throat until he died? What? Takano-san was burned to death in an oil drum. What? What? I felt something furry crawl up my spine. I also felt my stomach was turning upside down. I didn't feel any strength in my legs. If Mion let go of my collar, I'd probably collapse on the spot.
なんでそんな死に方したのかな。わかりませんか、シオン。
I'm asking you because I don't know. I think you do know, Shion, and I think you should just stop pretending otherwise.
わかんないよ。理由なんて一つしかないじゃないですか。
Please don't talk as if I already know the answer.
何の理由かな。
My heart was pounding. I felt that my next breath would be so bloody and hot that I'd choke on it.
そんなこともわかんないのですか。
It's because they made Orishiro-sama angry. The first year, it was the manager of the dam construction site. The second year, it was the traitors to the village. The third year, it was the pacifist. The fourth year, it was the relatives of the traitors. I always thought the victims were people who had something to do with the dam conflict. Since I didn't do anything against the village during the dam conflict, I assumed I was safe. I should have known. I should have known everything would be the curse of Orishiro-sama. I knew Orishiro-sama's anger was the curse of Orishiro-sama. I knew Orishiro-sama would get angry if I snuck into the ritual storehouse. But since I wasn't held responsible in any way for the dam conflict, I never thought I would be a victim of the curse. Did I ever think there would be an incident in the 5th year? I think you entertained the idea a couple times. Did I ever think that I'd be the victim of that 5th year incident? Tomotaki-san snuck into the storehouse, and he clawed at his own throat until he died. Takano-san was burned to death in an oil drum. It must be a lie. It couldn't be true. Even if it was forbidden, it was just a space for storing some old torture implements. How could they be killed just for just sneaking in there? Because you did not have the proper credentials. Especially in such gruesome ways. You really did not have the proper credentials. But I thought about it again and realized that those people were absolutely capable of doing things like that. The main Sonozaki family was capable of it. The Sonozaki family had been pulling the strings behind a series of mysterious deaths. They could do it. If that were true, that would blatantly contradict what Mion told you about a year ago, after Satoshi vanished, that nobody, not even Granny, knew what the hell happened to Satoshi. If they're really behind these deaths and disappearances, then what the hell happened to Satoshi? Why is he the only exception? Sonozaki family even kidnapped the grandson of the Minister of Construction during the dam conflict. They could do it. The Sonozaki family made Satoshi-kun disappear completely. They could do it. Mion leaned against me before falling onto the cold hallway floor. She collapsed rather violently. What's going on now? I usually didn't go to sleep with my stun gun. But since I was too drunk to get ready for bed, you stunned her. I still had it on me. I had my stun gun on me. I finally understood. I didn't know who killed them exactly, whose idea it was, or who ordered it. I didn't even know who was actually involved. But Mion and the hag knew everything. Satoshi-kun. Now I finally know. Now I know what I need to do. And what is that exactly? Is it what I was speculating earlier? I will settle the score for you, Satoshi-kun. I will avenge you, Satoshi-kun. I won't be killed like you, Satoshi-kun. Oh, dear. I walked into the hag's room. She was sitting up to take some medicine. Her back was turned to me. Mion and I are twins. If I acted like her, the hag wouldn't notice the difference. I didn't think she'd ever suspected me. I put my stun gun to her neck and pulled the trigger. I heard an indescribable electrical sound, and the hag's lights went out. She fell in a twisted position. I didn't know how long it would take a person to regain their freedom of movement after getting knocked out with a stun gun. So I had to restrain them before they woke up. I was unbelievably calm. The key to the underground torture room was in the forbidden drawer that only the head of the family can access. Mion had told me about this once. Well, that definitely solves the mystery how you were able to get down there. You know, during your rampage. I never looked for the drawer before, but I found it exactly where I thought it would be. The key was on a keychain with several of its sisters. Each key had a little plaque on it that said what it was used for. They were all in Mion's handwriting. She was an idiot for being so conscientious, but it sure helped me out. I put the keychain in my pocket and headed to the outdoor storeroom to find a cart. I found a large flashlight there as well. There was a strap on the flashlight, so I could put it on my shoulder. That way, I'd have both hands free to carry Mion and the hag. I loaded Mion and then our grandmother onto the cart and carried them to the underground torture room. I was prepared to use the stun gun again if they woke up while I was working. But it was more powerful than I imagined, and the hag showed no signs of waking. This was the stun gun Kasai specially ordered for me when I told him I wanted a powerful one. I remembered him telling me that it was an illegally modified stun gun, and that I should never use it just for fun. You should never use a stun gun for fun, period. I used my flashlight to find the light switch. I found it easily and turned it on. All the lights went on in the basement. Although there was now illumination, it was very dim. I moved quickly so as to finish what I needed to do before they woke up. I decided to put Mion in the cell beyond the torture room. Guess that definitely explains how she got there then. The lights in the torture room were so bright it was like daylight. There was a door there. I was fairly certain the cells were on the other side of that door. The proper key was here. The keys made a tinkling sound. I felt cold air coming in through the gap in the door. There must be a huge opening on the other side. I opened the door, and I saw nothing but darkness. I felt along the wall to find a light switch. Why am I hearing crickets in an underground cave? Just out of interest. I turned the switch on, and the light bulbs lit it up, revealing a huge rocky cave. It didn't look like a natural cave. It looked more like an air raid shelter. There were several hollow openings with bars across them. Those were the cells. I walked up to the closest cell and checked to see if it was strong enough to confine her. I pushed and pulled on the bars. I rammed against them with all my weight and decided they were perfectly sturdy. This was secure enough to be called a cell. I opened the lock and carried Shion in. I wasn't particularly strong, just average. I never thought I was strong enough to carry a whole person. But now I didn't need to pretend to be weak. I could easily lift and drag their bodies. I just remembered a little detail from Chapter 2. When the killer subdued Keiichi down here in the underground cave, when she brought her to Shion, shall we say, didn't she use a stun gun to subdue Keiichi? If that's the case, if I'm remembering this little detail correctly, then I think that pretty much settles it then. That one tiny little detail. Because, as far as I'm aware, Shion doesn't have a stun gun like Shion possesses. I mean, hey, if she does, and we discover this fact later on, then, well, joke's on me, I guess. But if not, then, well, there we go. Even more evidence. I can't believe I'm just now remembering this little detail. But now I didn't need to pretend to be weak. I could easily lift and drag their bodies. I put Shion in the cell. She seemed to moan a little. I didn't need to check to make sure. The effect of my stun gun was wearing off. I closed the bars and turned the key in the lock. Then I ran to the hag, who must have been starting to wake up too. Fortunately, there was no sign of her regaining consciousness. Maybe the difference in age had something to do with it. I looked for a table to restrain her on. I found a wheelchair with restraints for the hands and feet. I put the hag in it. Of course she didn't resist, but her dead weight made it seem like she was a huge French doll, but one made of flesh. I put her hands on the armrests and restrained them at the wrists with the metal rings and hinges. I did the same with her feet. This must have been a wheelchair, specially remodeled to restrain a person. Other than the restraints, it was a regular wheelchair. I waited for the hag to wake up. You're gonna have a really bad night, Oryu. I had so many things I wanted to ask her. I didn't think she'd answer honestly, but I had plenty of tools to make her talk. I was in no rush. When the hag had a concern, relatives took care of the problem. That was how it worked in the Sonzaki family. She was the leader of the family, so all the information they gathered would make its way to her. She must know everything that happened in Hinamizawa, including the curse of Orishiro-sama. Well, I'm pretty sure she knows a fair bit at least, but I don't know about everything, but I guess we're going to find out soon enough, aren't we? I heard a noise from the cell. Mion must have woken up before the hag did. Speaking of the hag, she didn't seem like she was about to wake up anytime soon, but she was restrained even when she did, so I had no need to fear. I left the hag there and headed for the cell.
シオン、これは何の真似ですか?
Well, apparently we're going to be avenging the blonde boy. Much to your great misfortune. She talked like the successor, but she also sounded frightened. She obviously understood the situation she was in right now.
おはよう、ミオン。まさか自分が閉じ込められることになるとは思わなかった？園崎家当主代行として命じます。ここを開けなさい。声色に一つ凄みが欠けますね。当主様はもっと傲慢な言い方をしなきゃね。もっともそういう言い方ができたとしても、今のあんたは滑稽なだけなんだけどさ。
There was nothing funny about it, but I wanted to intimidate Mion. My laughter echoed throughout the cave. It was artificial and meaningless laughter. I heard it over and over as it echoed. It sounded as if I wasn't the only one laughing. I couldn't stand it, so I stopped. Silence filled the air. That silence almost hurt my ears, so I started to speak.
富武さんと高野さんが今年の犠牲になるとはね、思わなかった。高野さんのドラム缶に詰めて焼き殺したってのもなかなかやるね。ま、あの人はそういう死に方を自分で希望してたっぽいからね。結構満足してるかもよ。
Mion didn't say anything. She just stared at me to see how I'd proceed.
富武さんの自分で自分の喉を引き裂いたってのは何？意識をおかしくさせるような怪しいお薬でも注射したの？それともそういう死に方に見せるような道具でもあるわけ？
That would be one hell of a torture device, if such a thing could even exist. Mion didn't reply. I was smiling boldly, but I became impatient and finally kicked the bars. It made a violent noise. Mion jumped as if she was kicked directly.
返事がないと退屈です。私を怒らせるとどんな得が？
I have a very good idea at this point.
私が知るわけないでしょう。
Mion finally replied. She was odious, but at the same time, sounded pitiful.
ねえ、ミオン。次期当主様。ここまで来ちゃったんだから教えてくださいな。
I had just too many things I wanted to ask her. I wanted to ask her about me, about the incident, about the curse, about Satoshi-kun. I didn't even know where to start. Before I asked her about those, I asked her one other thing.
私に対して反抗的な態度をとっても何の得にもならないこと。
Mion glared at me silently. Because we were twins, I knew that was just a bluff.
もうここまでやっちゃった以上、私も引っ込みがつかないんで。お姉も私に容赦とか躊躇とかそういうものをあまり期待しない方がいいかもです。
Mion must have been feeling the cold sweat on her face. Although the light was dim, I could tell she was frightened.
じゃあ聞くよ。ひなみ沢村連続開始事件。通称お社様のたたり。これってどういう意味があるの？やっぱりダム戦争のけじめってやつ？ 私は多分そうだと思ってる。
Mion sounded a little confused, but she answered. It's not a definite yes or no answer, though. I don't think Shion's gonna like that too much. I felt satisfaction now that we were communicating. I continued with a smile. Okay, maybe she's okay. Maybe that it's okay. Never mind. I
思
guess
っ
you're
てる
fine
って言い
with it.
方が少し頼りないね。そのあたりの事情は詳しくないの？
Spoke too soon.
シオンだって分かってるでしょ。次期当主なんてバッチャの取り次ぎに過ぎないよ。
Yeah, right.
その当主様と意思を疎通させて以心伝心なのが次期当主様の役目でしょ。取り次ぎに過ぎないなんて信じると思う？いつも身近にいる私だってたまにバッチャが何を考えてるのかわからない時があるもん。何でもかんでも私が理解してるわけじゃない。じゃあお社様のたたりってのはあいつが全部独断で決めてるわけなんだ。
I think all she's really saying is that she doesn't always know what Granny is thinking, Shion.
次期当主様と相談して決めてるのかと思ったよ。やばい話は全部バッチャが一人で決めてる。私なんか預かり知る余地もない。でもばあさんの独断だとしたってあいつはあんたを介してやり取りしてるわけでしょ。そのあんたが何も知らないなんてあるはず。違うよ。私なんかを介していない。私にだってよくわからないんだけど、私が陽の部分を取り継いでるとしたら陰の部分を取り継いでる誰かがいると思う。誰？その影の部分の取り継ぎって。知らない。誰かを招いて話してるとことか電話をしているとことか見たことない？強いて言えば毎年お社様のたたりの時期になると連絡量がどっと増える相手ね。わかんない。心当たりなんかないよ。
Mion shook her head.
まあいいや。じゃあ質問を変えるね。今年のたたりの富武さんと高野さんはダム戦争に直接関係してないのになぜ犠牲に選ばれたの？やっぱり西宮殿に忍び込んだから？
As soon as Mion heard the words ritual storehouse, her expression shifted.
西宮殿に？古手神社の西宮殿を犯したの？
You didn't know this?
ありゃ、知ってるとばかり。そんなことをしたらバカ、当然だよ。
Mion muttered bitterly while shaking her head repeatedly. Mion's reaction made me realize the true meaning of the forbidden storehouse of ritual implements. The ritual storehouse is a sacred building, so nobody can go inside. The curse will fall upon any who disobey. Any child would know that rule. However, just because they knew about it didn't mean that they all believed in it. Although they were told they would be cursed, most of the kids actually enjoyed hearing the stories. They simply didn't believe it was true. However, Mion's reaction told me it absolutely was. If they actually did that, of course something would happen to them. She was saying that if someone snuck into the ritual storehouse, that person should be killed.
私がこっちに帰ってきて以降、たまにミオンとは認識が食い違いますね。そりゃあ私だって西宮殿が迂闊に入っちゃやばいとこだってのは知ってますけど、あんな死に方しても当然だってほどやばいとは思わないんだけど。私たちだってその程度の認識じゃなかったでしたっけ？それはシオンがよく知らないだけだよ。すみませんね、よく知らなくて。説明をいただいてもよろしいですか？そりゃシオンの言う通り、子供の世界ではヤバいとかたたりがあるとか言ったってどうせ迷信に過ぎないだろう。 でも大人にバレたらかなり怒られるんだろうなって程度の認識だと思う。でもね、ひなみ沢の古老たちにとってはそんな甘いものじゃないの。
Mion explained to me how the elderly people blindly believe in Orishiro-sama, and how sacred the festivals are to them. It's probably something the younger generations would never understand, but they're possessed by a very strong, deeply rooted devotion towards Orishiro-sama. Mion then went on to tell me about how sinful it was to violate the rule of the ritual storehouse. I just couldn't believe things like that were still going on even in the modern day. I couldn't even reply appropriately. But, even if it was unbelievable, I couldn't ignore what I was hearing from my twin sister.
なるほどね。でもさ、ミオン。たたりで一人が死んだら、それを相殺する意味で一人を生贄にするのがルールじゃなかったっけ。生贄の死体は出ない。なのに今回は二人とも死体が出ちゃってるんだけど、そのあたりはどう見る？
Mion doesn't know that besides Takano-san, Toмотaki-san, Keiichi and I also snuck into the ritual storehouse. So I tried to lead her a little.
確かにおかしいね。高野さんの焼死体は見つかっちゃいけなかったってことなのかな。本当は高野さんは失踪ってことになるのがパーフェクトだったのかな。あるいは自信はないけど。何？根拠なんかいらないから言ってみてよ。怒らないから。
I wish I could believe you, Shion. Mion hesitated a little first, and then started to speak.
西宮殿に忍び込んだのは実は4人とか。
So, you just knew that 4 people snuck into the ritual storehouse, but you didn't know who they were. So I guess your source of this information just wasn't able to identify everyone who snuck in there?
それで？で、もう2人は生贄ってことで鬼隠しになってるんじゃないかな。
Mion's words were stuck in my head. If those 2 bodies were the result of the curse, then there should be 2 sacrifices to calm Orishiro-sama's anger. The 4 of us snuck into the shrine storage together. It was a simple equation. Did that mean that Keiichi and I were in danger? I got drunk, fell asleep, and decided to stay overnight. Was that because of the alcohol? Or did someone put a drug in my drink? I'm leaning more towards the former myself, honestly, because why would anyone want to put... I didn't see anything that could indicate that you were drugged. It's not like me to get drunk and spend a night at the hag's house. Yeah, well, people's thought processes can get pretty funky when they get drunk, Shion. I wanted to forget about what happened in that eerie storehouse, so I drank too much. But it really was strange for me to get that drunk. Maybe it was a good thing I woke up in the middle of the night. I could have been the one to wake up in a cell. I don't think that's likely, considering that Mion didn't even seem to know who the 4 people who snuck into the storehouse were. And since that includes you, I would safely assume that you were not going to end up in a cell because, well, as far as she at least was aware, you did nothing wrong. Don't know about Oryu, though. But Mion, well, again, I'm not going to repeat myself. Sometimes it's hard to recognize danger when you avoid it accidentally. Part of me wanted to just laugh at the idea, but another part felt frightened that I was so close to being in Mion's position. My thinking was correct. I wonder how Keiichi Maebara was doing right now. I didn't see him in any of the cells, but I didn't guarantee his safety. Takano-sen and Toмотaki-sen had been executed. You know, this is all interesting to me. This constant concern that you're showing towards both yourself and Keiichi being victims of his curse, then you never really had any initial intention to really harm him in the beginning, did you? The only period I could think that where that would have changed was when Keiichi started poking holes in the accounts that you gave him throughout Chapter 2. Maybe by that point, he was fair game to you. But yeah, this definitely is proven to be pretty enlightening so far. At least in regards to what might have actually occurred during the beginning of this murder spree. Or rather, the reasons why you went on it. There was a possibility that Keiichi could already be dead. But just like what happened to Satoshi-kun, it might only happen after a few days. When the sun rose, I was going to pretend to be Mion and head to her school. I was going to check if Keiichi was safe. So that was you. pretending to be Mion the following day at school. Damn. If he had already disappeared, the enemy would come after me next. I'd have to be a decoy for myself. But if he was still safe, I did need to keep my eyes on him. I was sure the enemy would come after that scatterbrain. If I became Mion, Shion would disappear. The enemy would think Shion had already been demoned away, and they'd concentrate on Keiichi. Okay. Since as far as you're concerned, you're dealing with an organized group that has been behind these murders and disappearances for the past half-decade, what makes you think that they wouldn't verify that this group wouldn't verify with all its members, hey, we noticed that Shion, our intended target, has apparently vanished. Did any of you people went and demon her away without informing us first what you were going to do? And if so, where did you do it and when? I'm pretty sure they would. I am pretty sure, assuming for the sake of argument that you're right, to suspect the Sonozakis as being responsible for all these murders and disappearances. I am pretty sure that they would be sensible enough to at least verify with each other what the hell happened, if any of them had anything to do with what happened to you. Because I'm pretty certain that if they did that and they realized that nobody seems to have done anything, they would notice that something is kind of off. And maybe they would try to investigate your disappearance. And then things could just snowball from there. And you'd be right in the path of that snowball. But we know that that doesn't really happen, given how the rest of Chapter 2 played out, at least as far as I can tell. So, I mean, we're going to find out exactly what played out from your perspective soon enough. But I mean, given how you lasted all the way until you apparently fell to your death, I guess, then yeah, you're going to be fine. Probably. If nothing happened to Keiichi, that would also be fine. It proved that nothing would happen to me either. The hag was still sleeping in the wheelchair. I was going to interrogate her. But actually, I wasn't expecting to learn that much. The woman who was also known as Empress Sonozaki probably wouldn't say a thing even if her fingers were cut off. Mion, her successor, was the complete opposite. She spoke readily, but didn't know too much about anything. Mion had said she was only a messenger, and that someone else was taking care of problems on the underside. It was possible Mion had grown to be a good liar, and that she tried to deceive me with a straight face. But at the same time, I could see that the hag not letting Mion get involved in the underside of the village. If I were her, I wouldn't have used Mion for that either. Unlike me, Mion was a nice person. Well, you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. In her own words, Shion is not a nice person. While there were only ones and zeros in the world, she believed there were numbers with decimal points. In other words, she could never be cruel. The hag thought the same way as I do. It was very possible. The one who took care of problems on the underside, X, was the one who actually governed the curse of Orishiro-sama. Well, everyone in the village, if memory serves, seems to think that Ushi might be that enforcer. So, I guess you can start with him, maybe? If the hag became concerned about something, X would deal with it, either directly or indirectly. Or maybe the hag and X would discuss the details first. But, did X really exist? If he did, his place in the village hierarchy was a lot more important than that of the successor. Unlike Mion, who was too nice, he was discreet, cruel, and cunning. Furthermore, he was extremely close to the hag. Someone who would have a lot of contact with her just before it was time for the curse. Because of the way Tomotaki-san died, it could be someone who regularly dealt with unusual drugs. He could be a member of a medical institution. The doctor of the Irie clinic. Irie? Well, I mean, he does take house calls, even for Uryu, but I don't know if that necessarily can implicate him of anything. In this isolated village, Irie was famous for opening such a beautiful clinic, and for working so hard for the villagers' sake. The villagers liked his mature personality, and really respected him. What the hell are they even talking about? This man is not that mature. There's nothing scarier than a doctor who's also a murderer. I don't know. I can think of plenty of things that would make a murderous doctor seem like a puppy by comparison. If Irie was the person behind the curse, all the mysterious deaths could be explained. However, there was only a slim chance of Irie being X. The main reason being that the hag wouldn't trust him. Like many of the elderly, the hag doesn't like young people. I knew she'd never trust him because of his age. Furthermore, she had openly criticized his behavior among the relatives once. Although Irie was famous, he was an outsider after all. He wasn't born here. He tried to maintain a good relationship with the villagers as the director of the clinic, but that was just on the surface. I couldn't even imagine a hag telling him about her worries, or about the village's underside. Well, if memory serves, he was present for at least a few of these instances when he made house calls and just overheard things. If she was as suspicious of others as I was, then she'd only gather trustworthy people to deal with that underside. The first people that came to my mind were the leaders of the three families. That's why you targeted them. The mayor and Rika. You suspected that they were Person X. So, you killed Oryu because you suspect that she had something to do with the mysterious murders and disappearances, most importantly to you, Satoshi's. You go after Mayor Kimiyoshi and Rika because you believe that these two could be possible candidates for Person X. And Mion, well, yeah, I think Mion could also be explained as basically for the same reasons as you killing Oryu, because you think that she at least plays at least some sort of part in what happened during what happens with the whole curse shenanigans, maybe even with Satoshi's disappearance. As for Satoko, well, you never really liked her all that much to begin with, and she just so happened to get herself caught up in your little scheme. So I guess it was just a murder of passionate convenience. I think everything is starting to slowly come together for me. Leaving Rika-chama out, the head of the Kimiyoshi family was a strong possibility. He was the only one who could advise Empress Sonozaki. They were a similar age, and everyone knew that they were very close outside the family councils. Furthermore, as the mayor, he often went to the Sonozaki house just before Watanagashi to discuss festival preparations. I could easily picture them talking privately. The one who executed the curse of Orishiro-sama. The one who murdered Takano-san and Tomataki-san. The mastermind behind a series of the mysterious deaths that had been going on for the past 5 years. Was he coming after me? Did he get to Satoshi-kun? When I thought about Satoshi-kun, I felt elevated. I was fearful of possibly being this year's victim until just a moment ago. I was scared that X was after me. But when I thought about it, I realized whoever it was, this person had gotten to Satoshi-kun. I looked so hard, but I couldn't find him. I'd almost forgotten about this enemy. Okay, I gotta ask you something for just a hot minute. I guess I could kind of understand Kimiyoshi based on your reasoning for being a possible candidate, but I mean, Rika is... yeah. Rika, may I remind you, is an elementary school-aged child who is, well, probably a lot older than she actually is, at least in terms of spirit, but is nonetheless pretending to be to act like an elementary school-aged child. Furthermore, even though there's no way you could possibly know this, to be fair, she's not exactly interested in anything and much of anything besides just having fun with her friends. So wait, why would that even matter? But anyway, whatever. Just disregard this last part. where I'm going with this is, do you really think that Uryu would trust an elementary school age girl to carry out, something as dark and sinister as these yearly curse murders and sacrifices? I don't know about you, but leader of one of the three families or not, that seems kind of out there, even by the standards set by the rest of this by the rest of this whole story that I've seen so far. I don't know. I think I gotta draw the line on the craziness somewhere, you know? I will admit it's not impossible. Maybe for all I know, Ryu would consider actually using Rika as a sort of underside lapdog in this respect. But, well, not lapdog, but, underdog. Enforcer. Fine, let's just go enforcer. But I just feel it's kind of very unlikely. For better or worse. For better or for worse, he was going to appear before me again. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't find that enemy. But now, he was trying to find me. We don't know that for a fact yet. That was it. I wasn't the only one. I wasn't only being chased. I was chasing too. When I realized all this, I was no longer afraid of dying to the fifth year's curse. It had become a game. I wasn't only being threatened. I was threatening too. Now was the time to settle the score for Satoshi-kun. Now was the time to awaken passions that had grown weak over the past year. I could feel righteous indignation and courage flare up within me. Righteous indignation or raging vengeance. The only emotion that can defeat fear is anger. When my anger completely overtook my fear, I felt as if I were reborn.
おばあさま、そろそろ目を覚ましてくださいません?
I kicked her wheelchair rather violently, but I didn't wake her up either.
ひょっとして眠ったふりをしてやり過ごそうとか考えてません?
I grabbed her hair and pulled her head up. But even then, the hag still stayed silent with a straight face. Then I noticed something. I looked for an appropriate torture device. I think I would just wait a few minutes at least before resorting to torture. There yet, I wouldn't resort to torture at all, but that's kind of pointless to ask for at this point, isn't it? They were all large scale, none of them being particularly handy. That's when I saw a cigarette lighter on a cushion in the tatami room. One of the relatives must have left it there. I lit the lighter. A huge flame appeared. I turned the lighter off and went back to the hag with it.
見えてます?見えてない?これ誰の忘れ物かわかりませんけどね。ライターです。
I lit it in front of her eyes.
今からこれであなたの鼻を焼きます。嫌でしょ?私も嫌です。ですから寝たふりをやめてください。
There was still no response. I put the flame right under her nose without hesitation. Oh boy. The tip of the flame touched the tip of her nose. The flame must have burned her nose hair. It smelled terrible. I was already certain, but I continued anyway. I brought the flame closer to her eye. Her eyelid didn't move one bit. The flame burned her eyelashes, making it smell awful again. I turned the lighter off and then felt her throat and wrist. I didn't feel any warmth. Maybe your stun gun killed her. I didn't feel a pulse either.
こいつスタンガンで死んだ
There was no way she could pretend to be asleep while being burned. Even if she could endure the pain. Anyone would reflexively move their eyelids if a flame came close to their eyes. But she didn't. I turned the sink water on and aimed the end of a hose at the hag's face. The pressure wasn't too high, but by squeezing the tip of the hose, I could make it squirt out. The water hit the hag in the face, but there was still no reaction. Well, there goes your plans to interrogate her. You really probably should have thought stunning her through, because I mean, she was advanced in her age, you know. She's not exactly as durable as someone like a third of her age, at least. Shit. You gotta be kidding me. She's dead. The one who's at the center of everything is dead now. I knew she wouldn't talk. I didn't expect her to end up dead. I never even thought of killing her. I walked around the room restlessly. I didn't feel guilty, but instead felt frustrated with what I'd done. Come on, I need to calm down. What do I need to be afraid of? Calm down and stay cool. Calm down. Stay cool. I can feel my brain starting to calm down, and my emotions cooling down with it. She was my true enemy. It was just that I killed her before confronting her about it. You see, that's the thing, Shion. You didn't know for a fact that she really was your enemy. You're just assuming shit because of circumstantial evidence at best. Sooner or later, I would have killed her anyway. She wouldn't have said anything in the first place, so there really wasn't a reason why I should have let her live. You keep telling yourself that. I didn't realize that until now, and that was why I got frustrated. My revenge for Satoshi-kun started with the unexpected death of my grandmother. It was such a strange feeling, like I was wearing soaping white clothes. I replaced that feeling with anger. I couldn't forgive her. I couldn't forgive the hag for abusing the Hojo family, including Satoshi-kun, for so many years. She cornered him psychologically as well as physically. She didn't deserve an easy death from a stun gun. I picked up a whip that was hanging on the wall. The whip was designed to make sure the person on the receiving end got seriously injured. I swung it up, and then down. The sound reminded me of when I was a child hitting things with a jump rope I pretended was a whip. But unlike then, it had to make a purple mark on the hag's face, and reddish-black blood started oozing out. I swung it up and down again. This time, the whip hits her in the head. Her hair flew in the air. I saw a bunch of her hair on the tip of the whip. At the end of the bunch of hair, there was a piece of her skin. It seemed the whip had ripped part of her scalp off. I continued to hit her with the whip. I didn't bother removing the hair beforehand. The tip of the whip was divided into many points, with each point having a fish hook on the end. Ouch. Those hooks, Add to the speed of the whip, and almost scratched the victim, but tore their skin as well. The hag's hair was all messed up, and her face was getting bloody. She started to look like a real demon. Probably a lot less than what you look like right now. I stopped the whipping. Not because my arm was tired, but because I couldn't stand the feeling of her hair on the tip touching me every time I swung the whip. I threw the whip at the hag. Breathing heavily, I realized I was covered in her hair. It almost felt like thousands of maggots crawling all over me. I brushed it off violently. I put my hands on my knees and exhaled roughly. It was then that I noticed it. I perked up and turned around. There it is. The person who had been watching me since I snuck into the shrine storage. And who is it? I sensed this person sitting in the tatami room. It enjoyed watching me torture my grandmother. An overwhelming emotion started to swallow me up. I tried desperately not to feel it.
いつからそこにいたんだか言ってくれればよかったのに。
It was just there. Just like Satoshi-kun, it was just there. It was extremely uncomfortable to have it just be there.
そっか。レナが言ってたもんね。あんた？お社様ってのは。
I smiled boldly. And yet, I could feel my body shivering.
冗談じゃない。あんたがお社様で、たたりは本当にお社様のたたりってわけなの？バーカ！誰が信じるかよ！
You would, apparently. It was just my imagination. It couldn't be the curse of Ueshiro-sama. The curse couldn't be real. Everything was done by humans. They made everything look like it was a curse.
まあ、あんたが見たいってんなら勝手だけどさ。私は見物料を取るつもりもない。でも、私の邪魔をしようってんなら、あんただって容赦しないよ。
No matter what I said, nothing happened. It was like trying to communicate with an insect. I felt like I was staring at a spider in the middle of its web, and the spider was staring back. I turned to the hag in the wheelchair. I couldn't leave her body here forever. If I didn't need to make her death known, then it should be quick, and it's best if a body doesn't exist. Not even in a secret underground torture room. I exhaled to try to calm myself down. Oh, I remember now. When I was a little girl, Kasai used to love making me feel scared. He often told me scary stories about various horrible things. I recalled his story about the secret torture room of the Sonozaki family. According to the story, there was a well in the torture room for dumping bodies in. So you've known about this particular aspect of the underground torture chamber ever since you were a kid. There was a pile of tortured corpses at the bottom of the well, and resentful moans could be heard echoing from there. And about halfway down the well, there was a different tunnel, which was a secret passage leading to the distant mountains. It's just like I've been suspecting for a while now. You really knew a lot more than you ever told Keiichi about in Chapter 2. You've been lying about a lot of shit right from the beginning. That bit was from Mion's telling the story. It was probably an amalgamation of tellings from different relatives. The room was supposed to be a huge secret, but everyone got loose lips at the chance to have fun scaring the young successor.
ミオン、昔親戚の誰かが言ってたじゃん。この地下の秘密部屋のどこかに隠し井戸があって、外へ出られる秘密の通路があるって話。さっきの音は聞こえてなかった？ばあさんを鞭で叩く音。
Mion didn't reply, but I saw her bite her lip.
大丈夫。あんたは叩かない。でもね、あんたが不愉快だとばあさんをもっと叩くかもしれない。今度は鞭なんかじゃなくて。そこの奥、暗がりにも牢屋があるでしょ。その中。
Mion pointed weakly. I walked down there to where her finger indicated. A light bulb lit up the cell. It was a lot smaller than the one Mion was in. It was very shallow, and I didn't even need to open the door to see how tiny it was. Of course, there's no well in there. I became angry, assuming that she lied to me. But after considering it, I didn't actually think she would at this point. I opened the door and walked in. I noticed something immediately. There was an opening right in the middle of the cell. This opening was naturally disguised. The way the rocks and the shallows were positioned perfectly hid the well. The tip of a rock inside the cell concealed the entrance. Unless you went in, you'd never notice. Clever. But it was such a shallow cell that nobody would even think of going in. Besides, the bars allow you to see the inside well enough. But the cell is not even a few meters deep, so it would only take a glance to see everything. Nobody would think of unlocking the door and walking in. But walking in was the only way anyone could find the well. Furthermore, there were many cells in this huge cave. Who'd think that one of them was hiding a secret well? The inside of the well was dark. I couldn't see anything. But every little noise I made produced echoes. I could tell this was a very deep well. I brought a flashlight from the torture room and shone it down the well. It almost looked more like a vertical tunnel. Obviously a man-made one at that. There were wedges on the wall, like a ladder, and they looked as if they were inviting me to descend. It's kind of ironic that the secret escape route from the underground torture room ended up being a well that takes you even further down. You had no way of knowing whether it would take you to freedom or to hell. Furthermore, there were the tortured bodies of past victims at the bottom. Who would be able to go down this well without hesitation? Nobody in their right mind could go down this well to look for a secret tunnel, hearing the voices of the dead all the while.
ミオンはあの井戸降りたことあるの？降りたくもない。それに関しては著しく同感。この秘密部屋の犠牲者たちが放り込まれた井戸になんか好き好んで降りたくはないもんね。
I went back to the torture room, and then returned to the cave, pushing the wheelchair containing the hag. Mion screamed.
シオン、バッチャを落とすけ？落とすんじゃないよ。捨てるんだよ。もう死んでるしね。さっきの拷問で死んだんじゃないよ。多分ばあさんはスタンガンで死んだんだよ。 心臓麻痺とかで。ひどい。なんなら死後の鬼ババの世話もする？私は構わないけどね。
Everything I said seemed to bother Mion. Her own life wasn't guaranteed at this point.
シオン、どうしてこんなことを。さーて、どうしてだと思います？
Nobody said anything for a while, but the silence was soon broken.
サトシ敵討ちってこと？敵討ちになったかもわからないけどね。いきなり後ろからバチンだったから、何が何やらわかんないうちにご臨終だったろうし。ねえミオン、今こうして思い返すと、私はやっぱりばあさんを殺すだけの理由があったように思うの。なぜかわかる？単にサトシ君を殺した張本人だからってだけじゃないよ。それは嘘をついたから。
I slapped the hag's head.
あんたも言ったよね。私が爪を剥がせば全て許すって。だから私は爪を剥がしたんだよ。3枚も。それでけじめがついたってことになったんだよね。
Not completely.
でも約束は守られなかった。サトシ君はやっぱり消されてしまった。どうして？どういうことなの？
I continued to slap the hag's head. Her blood was all over my hand by then, and it felt gross. I tried to wipe it off on her clothes, but then her hair got on my hand. I ran to the sink in the torture room and washed my hands with a brush. When I was done, I went back to Mion's cell.
あの時、サトシ君がいなくなってしまった後、あんたが来て言ったよね。サトシ君と私の関係はけじめがもうついてたって。そしてこうも言ったよね。サトシ君の失踪の理由は、園崎本家は何も知らないと。うん。嘘だ！
Lied! 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 Lied. My shouts echoed throughout the cave. I was breathing heavily. I felt like I used up all of the air in my lungs.
あんたが何も知らないのは本当だと思う。あんた自身、ばあさんに真の意味で信頼を得ていたかは怪しいからね。でも、ばあさんが本当に私のけじめでサトシ君を許したかはわからないよ。アマちゃんのあんたに本当のところを打ち明けるわけもない。
I also recall raising up that possibility too at one point, so yeah. The hag didn't keep her promise. She said she'd forgive everyone, but she lied. She didn't forgive. She didn't forgive Satoshi-kun!
嘘つき、嘘つき、嘘つき、嘘つき、嘘つき、嘘つき！返してサトシ君。返してよサトシ君。返して！
I kicked the hag's leg repeatedly. Every time I kicked, the wheelchair made a squeaky noise. Oh wait, that was panting. I ran out of breath and kneeled down. Mion was still covering her ears and was now shaking. There were tears in her eyes.
怖がらせちゃったね。ごめん。ミオンがミオンの言うように何も知らなかったなら、ミオンはいじめないからね。
We all know that's a load of bull, considering what happened in Chapter 2.
安心して。でも、もしミオンも嘘をついていたなら仕方ない。 その時はどういう目に遭わされても仕方ない。仕方ないよね。
Yeah, it's official. She's truly gone off the deep end now. So, this has just pretty much revealed, I think, everything to me, frankly, about why she targeted everyone that she did. And I'm only guessing, and granted, I'm only guessing in the case of Satoko, but honestly, I don't think it'd be too much of a stretch to assume that she just decided to take out her frustrations on Satoko, who was unlucky enough to wander into this murder spree of hers, because, well, in her very misguided mind, Satoko was basically the source of a lot of Satoshi's problems back in the day. So, you know, divine retribution against Satoko via her hand. I can already picture the exact kind of reasoning that she's going to make. And I'm just really dreading what I'm going to end up seeing later on. Because I know it's not going to be pretty. But all the same, it's just so nice to actually be given enough information to where I can actually think I can really figure out I can figure out why she ended up killing everyone in chapter 2. It all now makes sense. So let's start with page 183. I wasn't planning to kill the hag so quickly. I was going to kill her anyway, but it was too soon. People would normally assume that the Sonozaki family operates as a hierarchy, but that's not true. It's actually more like a system of government. Several ministries stem from the main family, and each forms a hierarchy of its own. These ministries don't communicate with one another. The people who belong to a given ministry don't know what the other ministries are doing. That way, the Sonozaki family's dealings are kept perfectly secret. Really? That's interesting, though, because wouldn't that mean, then, isn't it possible that maybe one of these so-called ministries might actually have a hand in the curse that's apparently afflicting Hinamizawa, but the rest don't know about it? Maybe it's possible that the curse is just the act of a rogue ministry in the Sonozaki family. Of course, the most important people in the family govern several ministries. They know, of course, about their own ministries. And they know a little bit about the ministries their relatives run. But do they know everything? But none of them know everything. There we go. So it's possible, then, that I might be onto something. There are ministries that work in the open. There are ministries that work unseen. And there are some smaller ones that Oryu runs herself. Mion seems to know about most of them, but she doesn't necessarily know them all. In fact, she didn't know about the curse. Considering that, the fact that Hag died before I could interrogate her is a huge loss. No fucking kidding. Now that I know this little detail, I'm now kind of inclined to agree with you, actually. Even though I don't really condone torture, you know? But all the same, I think this is a very interesting piece of information you just revealed to me. The head of the Kimiyoshi family was the one who called the main house most often after the fifth year's curse. My father called the second most. My parents were still high in the hierarchy, but the stir caused by my mother's disownment still hung over us, so we got treated as outcasts. So the fact that my father received so many calls proved how much the hag valued us despite the distance at which we were kept, demonstrating her own two-faced respect for both sides of the coin. My father seems to be in charge of the intelligence bureau. He reported police information, gossip, and rumors going around in the Yakuza business to the hag. He silences, stirs, and distorts the information at her request. By the way, my servant Kasai is an old friend of my father's. That must be why Kasai knows many things. But I don't know if my father is involved in the curse's execution. My assumption is that although he gathered information on the police investigation about the case, he wasn't involved in the execution itself. The fact that my father and the hag have this close connection isn't widely known. People know that she uses his information network, but they don't look very far beyond that. In the same way, it's possible that a curse execution team exists under the hag's direct control. People just aren't aware of it. I also think it might be possible that maybe there is a quote-unquote curse execution team that wasn't under the hag's control. Think about it for a second. Here we have the Sonozaki family that's pretty much has a massive monopoly of power within the Hinamizawa and the surrounding area. If there's any factions within the family that may be opposed to each other for one reason or another, I don't think it'd be a stretch to assume that maybe that there would be some who would initiate a power struggle behind the scenes. And if that's the case, then well, maybe that's what this curse thing is designed for. Maybe this is all part of some kind of great power struggle in order to undermine the leadership of Hinamizawa. But now that I'm also thinking about it, if it is other branches of the Sonozaki family, I guess it really wouldn't make too much sense then for them to essentially risk putting themselves under fire too, since they all basically would bear the brunt of the bad publicity, what with having the name Sonozaki and all that. So maybe this little new theory might need some fine-tuning. Like I said, it really is a shame that, at least from an information gathering perspective, Oryu had to die as quickly as she did. But even so, I think I've learned a fair lot in this one episode here that just answers a bunch of questions while also raising a couple new possibilities for me. That might explain just what might actually be going on in this village. I don't have proof yet, and it's just speculation on my part currently. But I'm definitely going to try to keep this possibility in the back of my mind going forward, as I continue to analyze everything that's happening. Anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and end things here, and we can continue Shion's rampage in the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Higurashi When They Cry Chapter 5. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.